Everyone is unique in their own way, but I've noticed that some people trend in a certain direction when it comes to the financial systems that they have put in place. These habits and trends contribute to some of the reasons as to why people struggle with money. So stick around, because in today's video, I'm going to be discussing what some of them are. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about habits which, for lack of a better word, are keeping you poor. And I'm going to also talk about what their alternatives are. Routine dominates people. It's often comfortable and easy to just continue on your everyday life and go about whatever your everyday life has in store for you. You also get bombarded and consumed by the influences surrounding you, which at times can work against self-improvement and development. I have found myself in the heart of the topics that I'm going to discuss in this video. I dug myself out of every single one of these holes since my early teens, and now looking back, I am extremely happy that I took the time and put in the effort to make those changes, because my life is better because I actually did try to better or improve my situation and understand how I was caught up and consumed by the things that, I'll use the word, routine and comfort surrounding me. Here are 5 things which contribute to holding you back financially. The first item on my list is surrounding yourself by people who don't challenge your ideas or don't support you. Everyone has ideas. Some are good, some are bad. Let's be fair and say probably more are bad. Regardless, if the people that you surround yourself with always cut you off or do not ever support your ideas, which could potentially offer an opportunity in the future, cut them off. There is nothing more to say. It is black and white. Cut them off. Work towards removing them from your life. Distance yourself, because in the long run, they are going to weigh you down. If you're someone with ambition, someone with ideas which actually could come to fruition and provide you a better life, and they don't support that, they don't have to do the work, they don't have to be involved in it heavily, but if they do not even encourage you or speak to you about it and offer you ideas to build upon those ideas, cut them off. Black and white. I used to fall right into this category. Pretty much everything was negative. If someone said something to me, it was negative. I used to work in a supermarket and work late nights with lots of my friends, my current friends. One of them in particular had an idea, and it was a food delivery service where you would go to a place and pick up someone's food that they had ordered and then deliver it to their home. And I laughed in his face and said, who in their right mind is going to spend money to have their food delivered? I said, I could kind of see it, but that will never pick up. That will never take off. And now 10 years later, there is a service called Uber Eats, or food delivery service in general, worldwide, is estimated to be worth over $20 billion. What? So me, having my silly mindset, looked at this friend and went, you're an idiot. I was that person. It was a toxic environment, and all I had to do was entertain the idea. How would it work? Tell me more. Okay, what's the problem with it? What are the good things about it? Ask some questions. Be supportive. Don't just cut it down. And I started digging myself out of that hole after I kind of started to realize people actually have ideas that can work and definitely will make money, and there's a market for it. It's not all about money in general, but this is a good example of me falling into this category. And I'm sure if you reflect and do some self-reflection, you might find that you yourself have fallen into this category too. The alternative to this is finding people who will challenge your ideas in a constructive way. My current group of friends is really good. I really enjoy having conversations which are in-depth, complex, and at times it turns into an argument, but it's always constructive. Point being that all of us have good ideas, and I always learn something new when I speak to them, because they are the type of people who engage and don't just tear down any idea anyone has. So one way I've dug myself out of this hole is by surrounding myself with people who fall into this category. I love this saying, money follows attention, which stems from creativity. Surrounding yourself by people who allow you and help you improve is only going to benefit you. Number 2 on my list is not keeping track of your expenses. I preach this heavily on my channel and in real life as well. I cannot believe how many people I know who do not keep track of their expenses. And I know firsthand how much this can affect your cash flow and your ability to save money for future goals. I use a spreadsheet to keep track of all of the expenses that I must pay for to live. So anything that I deem important enough that is going to be reoccurring for me to live out my life. And then on top of this, we'll break down my wage into specific bank accounts, into specific percentages, which I then can stick to and follow the routine, which gives me enough money in all of my buckets to basically live my life comfortably, whilst also accounting for everything that's important that I need to do without having to worry about where that money's going to come from. For example, paying for bills. This has served me really well. For the last 5 years, I've been doing it pretty strictly, and I'm not gonna lie, my way of life has improved, my level of financial stress has decreased, and I'm definitely much more comfortable managing my finances, taking on new expenses, and I understand where my money goes. I would recommend using anything like an app. If you're comfortable doing it, use your hand, use a pen and paper and write it down if you're not someone who's too tech savvy. Or my favorite method, like I said, is using a spreadsheet. I highly encourage to build your own spreadsheet which works for you, because once you get everything set up, it's effortless. It takes less than 10 minutes a week to update and keep relevant. And that information is extremely useful to me and to you, because you can look back, understand how much you're spending on things after time. It will definitely extrapolate out, and you will have enough information to then plan accordingly coming out of it. I have left a link in the description below to how I personally break up my wage and how I allocate my money. So if you're interested in trying to understand why I do that the way I do it, check that out after. Now, the third topic on my list is stagnation, or stagnating. I know firsthand how much easier it is to sit down on the couch and turn into a couch potato, put something on Netflix and just relax, than it is to pick up a book and start reading, learn a new song on my guitar, or try to understand the inner workings of the stock market. In my instance anyway. I personally feel like people get complacent once they settle into their everyday life. What I mean by settle is that they have a decent enough job that they can basically just pay the bills, fall into their routine as it's now in motion, and just let it play out. And while I agree that this is a great achievement and something that definitely would be earned, I still believe that there are going to be hoops and hurdles thrown at you throughout your whole life. So doing a bit of extra planning, thinking, learning to basically prepare yourself for anything that does get thrown at you is never going to hurt. It's kind of like future-proofing. I think that exploring potential new hobbies and upskilling yourself is always going to be in your best interest. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do this for every waking moment of your day. However, spending or allocating 10 minutes a day to do these activities, do a new hobby, do a task that's important that you've been putting off, is going to benefit you in the long run. And this will compound over time. I have played the guitar for 20 years and I keep it up, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. And I think that I'm a pretty good guitarist from it. I apply this to a lot of different things, which in turn make me a capable, functioning human being. I'm not saying you're not, I'm just saying take it into account that people definitely stagnate and get stuck in their routines. And I don't believe that that's a good thing. I personally believe it's a bad thing. The discipline skills gained alone just by allocating a small portion of time each day is unfathomably useful. It's ridiculously useful, and it's something that will then feed into other tasks, responsibilities, expenses that you take on. Everything that is a challenge thrown at you, you will be better equipped because of the habit building that you basically instill in yourself. I myself have been practicing this for a long period of time now, and it used to be a grind. It used to be time consuming. It used to be annoying. It used to be something that I didn't want to do. I dug myself out of that hole because now I really get excited when I get to take on a new task, when I want to learn something new. I want to get better at something. I want to understand something. It's something that definitely develops over time, and the outcome is me, again, being extremely happy with approaching challenges and just functioning in general. So to summarize this point, don't stagnate and allocate time, even if it's only 10 minutes a day, to try and self-improve in your own way. Number 4 is a very short one, and that is to not chase rewards programs. I've put over $100,000 through my credit card since I first got it. And I cannot stress this one enough, but it is not worth spending money for points. Do not chase the rewards. The benefits from these reward programs definitely do not outweigh you spending your money. The purchases that I had made on that credit card were planned purchases, were purchases that I definitely was going to buy that item regardless of if I was getting points or cash back or anything. in return for me spending my money through that entity. All of the purchases that I made, I was able to pay them off in full in that very moment. That's the only reason I was buying them. That's how I use my credit card, making sure that I can pay it off immediately. And that's pretty much it for this one. It is spend within your means, don't chase the rewards programs, which in turn essentially are summarized to be live within your means. And my final item on this list, which will probably be unsurprising to most, is to stop trying to keep up with others. I'm very specifically referring to people who try to keep up with the latest trends. I know so many people who spend so much money, like a ridiculous amount of money, on trying to keep up with the latest tech and clothes. And in hindsight, it's not worth it. It's not necessary. And at the end of the day, no one really cares. Now, you may have a different opinion to me. This is my opinion. Grill me in the comments if you want, but ultimately, I truly believe that it's not worth it at all. Graham Stephan, I know he'll be on my side. I grappled with this a lot in high school. This was me in the hole again. I really struggled to say no to things when everyone was buying a car, and I definitely didn't need to buy a car at that period of time. Everyone was trying to keep up with the latest fashion trends, and again, I was lucky that I didn't fall into every single rabbit hole that a lot of my friends did. Ultimately, be conscious of the fact that you don't need to fall into these trends, that it is okay to say no, and that at the end of the day, like I said, no one's really going to care. Now, the way to dig yourself out of the hole is to kind of do a Barney Stinson. For those who don't know who Barney Stinson is, I definitely feel old. But anyway, I'm certain that people talk shit behind my back about the clothes that I wore in high school, as an example. But I kind of taught myself not to care, because in hindsight, I don't think a single one of them goes, oh, I wonder what Reese was wearing in high school 3 years ago. Oh, what an idiot. Who the hell is going to do that? And if they are doing that, that's just sad. Ultimately, I kind of looked ahead and realized that it wasn't going to matter in the long run. I like me. I like who I am. There's no more to that. I like me. Cool. Like, I don't really care about someone's opinion of the clothes that I'm wearing. I like wearing nice clothes, but I'm not doing it to impress anyone. This probably is the most important item on my list, and if you've made it this far into the video, definitely take a step back and look at yourself and see if you fall into this category, because it doesn't only apply to young people, it will definitely apply to older people. I know lots of people who try to keep their homes furnished with the latest furniture. They're always doing a reno. Things that I hope they're doing for them, because it's their haven that they're living in, and not to impress someone else. I encourage you to just take a step back, have a look around, and see if you fall into that category of someone who is, I almost said wasting their money on, spending their money on things which they definitely don't need to be spending their money on. Overall, this list is a culmination of things that definitely affected my mindset, my mood, my ability to save money and actually budget and understand my finances growing up and even today, and definitely for people in my surrounding, I'll call it bubble, because they are all easy traps to fall into. Take a step back, review, and see if you fall into these categories or not. If it's time to start making a change or digging yourself out of a hole, do it. No more to it, do it. Overall, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.